Hey, what's good, LBK? Welcome to another episode of the Focus LBK show. This is your brother, Robert Jenkins. Today we have in studio Mrs. Margaret Randle, who is the president of the graduate chapter of the Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. You got to say that, Incorporated.
Right. And you have to say it with
sass and pizzazz. Right. You got to say Incorporated.
Right.
Or Incorporated. More natural to my own timbre of voice. Incorporated.
Yeah.
Miss Randle, how are you doing?
I'm doing just fine. How are you?
Oh, I'm pretty good. And I believe you are our first repeat guest.
Oh, wow. Well, so that makes me kind of special, huh?
Yeah, well, that's not what makes you special, but it makes this show special for having you on here.
Thanks. And thank you for always being so accommodating. I have just kind of admired you from afar, and now I've gotten a chance to know you. So you're good people.
Oh,
you're
thank you.
Thank you. You're good people.
Thank you. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'm sure you can guess. You see the green and the pink and green. So I'm sure we're going to discuss what your sorority has been up to lately. Clue us in. I know every time I look at Facebook, you have a picture up there where you out doing something in the community and just got through doing something. Right. And I think to myself, man, I should have covered that. I didn't know that was going on. Yeah. So what are y'all up to lately?
Well, thanks. And again, thank you for being accommodating and allowing me to come. Our sorority here in Lubbock, Alpha Kappa Alpha Eta Delta Omega chapter, was chartered on December the 13th, 1958. So we have every year, that we're still functioning and in existence. It's a milestone. So we're just adding another rung to our, notch our rung, I guess, or something, however you say that, of being of service here in Lubbock. So the sorority itself, Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority, was founded in 1908 at Howard, on the campus of Howard University. Okay. And Howard is an HBCU, a historically black college university. And if you think back to 1908, that's just not too many years post-slavery. Right. And for women, for African American women, for 1908 to be in college, I mean, there were not that many African American people in college, and then certainly not that many women. But for this group of women to say, there is a need for a sorority, for a group of African American people to get together for the common good and do something, not just for ourselves, not just for people who look like us, although, we want to focus on people who look like us because we just got out of slavery. Right. But to say that we're going to be of service to all mankind, they didn't just say just this man or that man or this woman, or that, but to all mankind. And so we have been around serving since 1908, and it's been uninterrupted service. And then, like I said, the chapter here in Lubbock was chartered in 1958. And again, if we, and I know your history, so I don't have to lay that out for you, of course, but in 1958, we still had a segregated society. We still, and I can remember, I graduated from high school in 1968, so that kind of tells you about how old I am. But I can remember seeing signs that said white only. And so if you go back to 1958, there were certainly many signs that said white only and for coloreds or whatever, no whatever, something, and dogs allowed or something. So, but anyway, when the chapter was being chartered, the members of the sorority had to work at finding a place for the chartering regional director to be able to stay. And reluctantly, unfortunately, I should say, they were not able to find a hotel. Right. So, and which was not uncommon because, whenever African Americans had to travel, well, then, had to find a place where you can stay, or you stayed with your high school teacher's cousin or sister or something. So when the regional director came to town, she had to stay with one of the members who was chartering the chapter, which was not uncommon because that kind of thing. Right. But, one of the things that we always say, not just in the sorority, but just people in general, is life gives you lemon, make some lemonade. Okay. Right. And so you didn't have a place to stay. You ended up staying with friends or people who weren't friends. They became friends and they became like family. And that helped to create a closer knit between people who look like you, you know. But anyway, on December the 13th, 1958 is when the chapter was chartered. There were 11 members who, and in order to charter a chapter, you have to already be a member of the sorority. So these 11 women were already AKs. They weren't being initiated. They were, and I don't want to start calling names because I might forget one name, but they had been initiated on the campus of Wiley College, Houston, Tillotson College.
Houston Tillotson, or
yeah,
what?
but
it wasn't Houston
then,
Tillotson
right,
at the
it was
time.
just Tillotson.
Right.
Yeah, Wiley, Marshall. Jarvis.
Texas College, Jarvis.
Paul Quinn was in Waco. At Clark
Atlanta, okay.
Clark College in Atlanta. It was just Clark College there.
Okay.
And then Texas College. Texas College. So they had moved to Lubbock various times, and they just met each other and started thinking, we need to charter a chapter here. And they did a phenomenal job. They knew the purpose of the sorority. They knew the history of the sorority, and they were about doing the work of the sorority. They were movers and shakers in the community, so they knew which resources to pull in. One of the activities that they did was that they brought Leontine Price to Lubbock. I mean, that's a big deal.
To sing?
Yes.
Oh, wow. Where did she sing at?
That's a good question. I'm not sure. I'm going to have to find that, and I'll text that answer to you.
I was just thinking because they didn't have a Buddy Holly Hall, and it was segregated anyway.
Oh, yeah. So I'm not sure. Where is she?
It might have been at wherever the orchestra was practicing or playing.
Maybe so. Yeah. So, but anyway, kind of fast forward, and then the chapter kind of grew some. I graduated from Texas Woman's University in Denton in 1972, and that was before TW had sororities. We had literary social clubs.
Okay.
So we had a literary social club. But I came to Lubbock in 1972 to teach. And in 1974, I joined the sorority here. In the late 70s, I would say, maybe 78 or something like that, the Eta Delta Omega chapter sponsored the UNCF, the United Negro College Fund, telethon.
Okay.
And, we'd break away and go to Las Vegas, where Lou Rawls was and whatever, something,
right.
and then pull back to here, where we were entering, manning the
phone bank.
Phone banks,
yeah,
exactly. I was going to say sell, but it wasn't sell. And that was interesting because we got calls from people that wanted to know what were you all doing on the television. And
the same thing you all do on the TV.
Yeah, well, there was a different word for you all that
right.
they used, but
probably started with an N.
Probably, and I think it did. To be exact, yes, it did. But
neighbors, we're talking about the word neighbors.
Neighbors, yeah. We were able to raise money for UNCF, and when Joan Crawford was the instigator, was the person who had the idea. And when she first started talking about that, I think people were kind of like, y'all gonna do what? And the president of Bishop College at that time was Dr. Curry. He came to Lubbock during the telethon and stuff. And it was successful. And then
was that to raise money for the
United Negro College
for
Fund?
the college
yes,
fund?
Yes. And then we participated in the Jerry Lewis telethon again. And again, people kind of like, okay, that's different for you folks, but we did it because we go back to what we say: we're of service to all mankind,
right?
And we strongly believe in education. And even today, the chapter does a scholarship to high school students, and we take them through 2 years of college, I want to say. And every semester they would get X number of dollars from the sorority. And so then where does the money come from? It comes from our community. We have fundraisers in the community where that support our scholarships. I want to say we've had anything from live auctions, silent auction, partnered with the club out at Tech, then did a cocktails that give back. I'm not sure if they still do that anymore. But we raise money, and all of the money that we get from the community has to go back to the community, with the exception of administrative costs,
Right.
for whatever
Right.
something. But we're not allowed to use community money
Right.
to support the chapter.
Oh, right.
And we know from time to time that through Texas Tech, LCU, Wayland, the hospital, the school districts or something, that sometimes that there are members of the sorority who move to the city. And so we're always, trying to make sure that our sorority sisters out there who have moved to the city know that there is a chapter that's active here in Lubbock, and we would like for them to reach out to us and to join with us. So that kind of tells you a little bit about our history of the kinds of things that we've done in the past, and then we can talk about what's going on now.
Right. Before we jump into that, I got a question for you, though. Just listen to some of the things you were saying. First, why did you join a sorority at all when you came to Lubbock? And why was it the AKAs?
Okay.
And after that, I think the question is, where did you get your heart for service? Where did that come from? Did you join the sorority because you wanted to serve, or did you learn to serve after you joined the sorority, or how'd that work?
I'm going to start with my heart for service. I grew up in Texarkana. My daddy, we lived on land that my grandfather bought in 1927. My grandpa was the second person to own that land. He bought the land from this guy that the governor of the state of Texas had deeded the land to, or granted the land to him, however, whatever they did. I don't know where the governor got the land from, but to that. And so my grandpa bought the land from that person. So we were my grandpa was the second person to own that land. But my daddy worked at a business there in Texarkana, and he saw, and this was like in the 40s, and he realized that the white guys were doing the same kind of work as the black guys were doing, but they were getting paid more per hour than he was. So he just started talking to the other black guys and said, you know what, that guy over there's doing the same thing we're doing, but he's making more. And so my daddy went to talk to the owner of the company. But somebody had beat him to the owner and had told him that this person is going to come and talk to you about getting paid more. So when my daddy went in to talk to him, he didn't get that 10 cents more raise. He got fired. Yeah. And so I grew up watching my daddy do stuff in the community. Everybody had their own water well because we lived out in the country. My daddy realized that, that there's a water line that's going from Lake Wright Patman going into town. Why can't we tap into that line? So my daddy organized a water district out in the country, and everybody got their own water line tapped into the water that was going to the city. Okay, we lived in this community on the opposite side of the railroad tracks, and the mailman, like 26 boxes along this long line of mailboxes. The mailman didn't come into the community. You had to go across the tracks to get you. And my daddy started thinking, you know what? Why don't we get mail delivered to our house? Put a mailbox out in front of our house and get it. And so they said, well, okay, we can do that in the community, but not where you live. Because, like I said, we lived on my grandpa's land. So my daddy donated a strip of land to create a road to come to our house. And so we got mail to our house. And my daddy, during the 60s, civil rights and voter rights and stuff, the people who were running for county commissioner or sheriffs or something, they would come and sit on the front porch and talk to my daddy and ask him to support them. And my daddy would say, okay, I'll support you if you do this, and this, not necessarily for him, but for the community. Make sure that the roads stay travelable, whatever, I'm not sure that's the right word, that we can travel on the roads, put gravel down and maintain the roads, maintain. Okay, we can do that. But then can I put a sign in your yard? Yes, you can put a sign in my yard, but you have to promise me you're going to do whatever or something.
Right.
Okay. So, and then when it was time to vote, people would call my daddy and ask him, who should we vote for? My daddy would tell them, don't vote for this person, you vote for this one because whatever, something, something, something. And if the person, it's usually a man, and if the man didn't do what he said he was going to do, not just for my dad, but for the community. Well,
right.
My dad would say, I can't tell people to vote for you anymore. So all of those things, just sitting and watching and listening to my daddy, I saw that my daddy, he believed in the community and he supported the community. He donated land for there to be a community center for the children because he said the kids need to have a place to go on Saturday night.
Right. What was your father's name?
James Brannon. James Leslie Brannon. My daddy was born in 1906, and he died on December the 7th, 1986, about 2 weeks shy of his 80th birthday.
Okay.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah. That's right. Yeah. But anyway, yeah, I was going somewhere with that, and I lost my thoughts.
Well, building the community center, and for the kids, and then tying it into where you get your spirit of service from.
Yeah, because I saw what he did, and then after Voting Rights Acts, well, then my daddy got a chance to register voters. He got a chance to go and to sit and to work the polls. And I remember then after he got sick, he was supposed to be going to Arkansas for the governor or something. But he was sick, so my mother got a chance to go.
Okay.
And then one of my older sisters integrated Texas Woman's University. So and just hearing her and what she went through, or something. So I guess I was surrounded by people who saw the need to be involved. And when I went to college, I was involved demonstrations and stuff and just saw that if you're going to be a part of this society, well then you need to play a part in making things better for people who come after you. So that's what I try to do. Now, do I hit it all the time? No. Miss it, but I can still keep trying. And then as far as a sorority, one of my older sisters who will be 91 in January is an AKA.
Okay.
And I didn't realize back then, but most of my teachers that I really admired were AKs. They were just, it was just something about them and how they carried themselves or something. So when I came to Lubbock, and like I said, we didn't have a sororities at Texas Woman's University. When I came to Lubbock, I had a chance to join the sorority.
I see.
Yeah. And it was not because of whatever, but because of the quality of the work and the being of service to all mankind was what.
As president of the graduate chapter here, what influence do you have over what projects you guys do, and if you have a notable influence, then what kind of projects do you prefer to?
Well, okay, yeah.
Do you prefer to focus on?
Yeah, well, our international president is Danette Anthony Reed, who is from Dallas, and actually her membership is in one of my sister's chapters there in Dallas. So Danette's been in my sister's chapter for a long time. Our international president sets like parameters for the kinds of initiatives that we're going to do. Like, for instance, one is like your environment, enhancing your environment. So each chapter at the local level looks at those initiatives, and then you figure out, what you do here in Lubbock may be different from what you do to enhance your environment in New York City, but nevertheless, it's still enhancing your environment. Right. So we have to do programs that follow those initiatives. And then we have several different positions. We have a vice president who chairs the program committee. Okay. We try to do an assessment of our chapter to see let me back up. We go to our conferences and learn about what those initiatives look like, what they're supposed to be about, some ways that you can do those, and then we come back and then say, okay, like we're going to enhance our environment. We're supposed to plant trees. Okay, so in East Texas, you might plant a pine tree, but in West Texas, you might plant a desert willow, whatever, or something tree or something. But we still need to do those kinds of things. Right. So we, look at that and study those initiatives, and then look at how we can customize those for our chapter to enhance our environment, to keep it clean. We have partnered with the Texas Department of Highways and Transportation, TxDOT, and we have a sign over on Parkway Drive for about a mile and a half or something, and we keep that part clean.
Okay.
So we do, those kinds of
How
things.
often do y'all go out there and do that? Is it monthly or?
Oh Lord, no! It's twice a year.
Oh, okay.
It's twice a year is when you're supposed to do it.
Oh, I see.
And there is an undergraduate chapter on the campus of Texas Tech. So on the sign, it has the graduate chapter and the undergraduate chapter. Those names there.
Yeah.
So those are the kinds of things that we do, and then those are why we do what we do. Every 4 years, we elect a new international president, and then it's left up to that international president to change, or to tell us what our initiatives are going to be.
I see. Interesting. All right. So you were going to get into some of y'all's current activities.
Yeah.
What's going on with y'all?
Well, what's going on? I used to host that show after Mr. Richardson and Mr. Patterson stopped doing it. I did the What's Going On show for about 20 years.
Yeah, I remember you said that last time. And I kind of forgot. It slipped off my radar, but I meant to see if I could find some footage of that too. And I noticed that we do a What's Going On segment here because they had it in the Southwest Digest.
Exactly. Exactly. Yes. Okay, back to what we're doing is empowering our families is the broad category. One of our signature programs, not just for this chapter here, but for internationally, is called CHIP. Is Childhood Hunger Initiative Power Pack, because and I can't remember the statistics right off the top of my head, but there are many, many, many children across this country and this world, for that matter, that go to bed hungry each night. So our international president said we need to do something to address childhood hunger. So we have this CHIP program whereby Alpha Kappa Alpha Incorporated provides bags, green bags, and we don't put our name on it because it's not about us. It's about feeding the children. But it does say CHIP, and each week, some chapters do it once weekly, and then some do it twice monthly, depending on what your funds are like or whatever or something. But you put food in there for the kids to take home, and it needs to be food that the children can prepare for themselves. Like they're not going to go and cook a whole meal or something. And it needs to be, and it's we have a requirement. It has to be so much protein, so much whatever, little starch, little sugar, or something.
Right.
But we have been blessed to partner with a professional sorority out at Texas Tech Health Sciences Center, and they have provided the funds for us to purchase the food to put in those CHIP bags, and it's for elementary children. So we partner with Alderson Elementary, and the principal there, Dr. Coleman, is a member of our sorority. She's an AK. So we go there and stuff the bags and distribute them to the children. So that's one of the programs that we do. And then I mentioned the tree. Now we planted, we can't plant 3,000 trees like a larger chapter that has 1,500 members. But we planted a tree over on, it's like in the May Simmons Park.
Oh, where?
Yeah, like between 19th and 24th Street. Somewhere there on the west side of Martin Luther King. One of the other initiatives is Social Justice Connection and Social Justice or something. So we work really hard at making sure that people are registered to vote. And it's one thing to go out and to get people to register to vote, but it's another thing to make sure that they vote. Now, we can't go around and follow people and hit them on the head and say, you better make sure you vote. But we taught to them when they get registered to vote about the importance of voting. Right. We hosted a presidential debate forum. We partnered with the YWCA, and I used to be involved on the board for the YWCA. The YWCA back in the 1920s, 1920, they were one of few places where African American people could stay. You could go there and stay there, and they would train you on typing skills or whatever to be a secretary or something. So, and then part of the Y's mission is elimination of racism. Eliminating
racism, empowering women.
Exactly. Yes, exactly. So, but anyway, we partnered with them to host a presidential debate, like a forum, and it was nonpartisan. We had many people. I don't remember if you were there or not. I can't remember.
don't believe
No, I don't believe you were there. But anyway, so we did that, and then we during when like Juneteenth celebration, Martin Luther King celebration, whenever and wherever at the football game, we registered people to vote, and we tried to keep voting and being registered at the forefront of people's to-do list, I guess, and not just when there is an election, because you need to vote when you're running for city council. You need to vote for whatever. You just need to understand the power of your vote and why it's important. So we try to make sure that we don't just do it once a year, once every 4 years, and go away.
Understood.
Yeah. Let's see. Some other things that we do is a part of that being involved in the community and enhancing is that we serve on several boards. The city of Lubbock has what's called Appointments Advisory Board. And what that board does is that it looks at all of the different boards and commissions that the city has and then recommends people to serve on those. So, and I have been fortunate enough to be on that Appointments Advisory Board, and recommend not just members of the sorority, but people who look like me, because we try to do one of the things that that board does is to try to make sure that we have a good representation. Is that the boards, all 47 number of boards that the city has, that they need to be representative of the city, not just District X or District something, but just a good representation.
What's the biggest challenge on the advisory and appointments board? What's the biggest challenge in getting that spectrum of people that you're looking for?
Well,
I heard one of our council members mention something about the racial makeup of some of the committees and boards a few weeks ago, I guess.
Yeah, it was.
And it just occurred to me when she said that, I was like, well, it's well and good to have that as a goal, but you have to have people to sign up.
Yeah, and it starts with people knowing that there is a board.
Right.
So I feel like that education, not just for that, but for everything, education is the key. People can't do what they don't know needs to be done. If that makes sense.
That's perfect sense.
Yeah. And so I know I'm no longer on that board, but when I was on that board, I think I might have served on the board maybe 8 years or something, because I got an unexpired term and then I got elected my own terms, 2 terms or something, is you need to go out in the community and to find the people where they are. If you look at the report, because that board, the city does a report, and it'll say, Lubbock has whatever percentage or whatever something, but then the percentages are not, they don't fit. They don't, they're not representative. But go out and find people. Go and to talk to people at different organizations, groups, at the park or different places, just to make them aware that there are some boards and these are the qualifications. Some boards I don't remember planning
and zoning.
Yeah, planning and zoning.
You're going to need some credentials to be on
right.
that.
Yes, you might need to be a builder. You have to be a homeowner, or you have to be an electrician, a master plumber, or something. But on some of those boards, you just have to be a citizen that lives in the city limits. And so, just making people aware that those boards exist. That's how you get people there. Now, so when you look at the percentages, they're not reflective of the population. So that's probably why she mentioned that. And I know, and again, like I said, I'm not on that board anymore, but I still tell people, there's a board that you ought to look at. Well, how do I find out? Go to the City of Lubbock website. And then city secretary, the little ribbon across it, drop down, look at all of those. And so, as a citizen, I feel like that I have a right to do that. I'm not on the board anymore, but I have a right to do that.
Right. That's mylubbock.us in case you're wondering. Go to mylubbock.us and city secretary, and you should find at the navigation tab at the top, you should find the boards and commissions.
Right.
Tells you what you have to, what credentials you need, with deadlines, all that stuff.
And they also, the city also says, once you do that, reach out to your council person, reach out to the mayor and let them know, hey, I'm interested in serving on X board or whatever, or something. So,
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. What do you think is in East Lubbock? We'll talk about Lubbock in general. This is Focus LBK show. It's not really the Focus ELBK show, but in specifically in East Lubbock, what do you think? What are some of the areas where your sorority is most needed? What are some of the projects that are most needed?
Because I am an educator by trade, education has got to be children having access to a quality education, children being able to read on grade level, to problem solve, and to understand the power that they have. But you need to understand that part of that power comes from an education, and then being involved in a community and knowing what's that. Now, a 6-year-old, what does that mean? Being involved in a community? Not much, but even at a school, having the opportunity to participate in the You Can Share food drive, to participate in the spelling bee, to participate on student council or something, just to know that you can do something. You can do something for your community. You can do something for yourself. The most important thing is to make sure that you get a good education. I know when I was still working, it was always important to me that parents came to the school. If you have a question about what is happening in your child's classroom, don't sit at home. Come to the school and find out. If you have a question about why your child is not bringing home a book to read, call. And now I know I've been retired a minute, so things are a little different from what they were like when I was still working. So I have no idea what kids take home with them now. But I think that making sure that education is at the forefront. One of the things that I've always said is that I know, my daddy didn't own, he wasn't the president of the bank. He wasn't the president of the hospital or whatever or something. My daddy and my mother taught us that your way out of poverty is going to be education. And we might not have the money right now to get you to college, but we can find it. And your job is to go, stay there, and don't get kicked out, and graduate, get a job, and then pay it forward. And then do something for those that are coming up behind you. Back to Texarkana, my family has established a scholarship in my parents' names. It's called the James and Ellen Brannon Scholarship. And we donate money to this organization because they have an organization that they give the James Brannon Community Award. So it's kind of neat. So we donate money to that organization. So, not because, so there are two things. They give that James Brannon Community Service Award, and then we give money for us to do scholarship. Because again, education is really important. Right. And I think that for anybody, whether you live in East Lubbock, North Lubbock, South Lubbock or something, but you need to know what's going on in your city. You need to know that there is an election. You need to know that this city council is meeting and they're going to be discussing XYZ. And if you can show up at that time or whatever time they're meeting, well, then go. So you'll know what's going on. Sometimes I feel like that people feel like that things are done to them as opposed to them being involved. And so you just need to be involved. You just need to speak up and see what's going on and ask questions. And I guess I learned that from my dad. My daddy was about 5'4" tall. Really? He wasn't real tall. He was a little man. But I would see him, during the week he was called James. On the weekend, he was called Brother Brannon, Mr. Brannon, by the people at church. But my daddy wasn't intimidated by anybody. Those big old tall white guys, he wasn't intimidated by them. He got fired because he wasn't trying to get some extra money, but he didn't let his statue keep him from. And he never owned a car.
Interesting.
He never owned a car.
By choice or?
I don't know. He didn't have any money. Oh. Yeah. Oh, yeah. So he always got a ride from people, but he didn't let that keep him from being involved in the community. Right. My daddy was the president of the neighborhood association. He was a deacon at the church, you know, so I just saw him and saw how you can't let something keep you from doing something for yourself, for your community, for other people.
Yeah, it's I think a lot of people let things hold them back, but the things that they let hold them back are usually excuses. They're not reasons.
Right. Yeah. And, you know, and sometimes there are, at the moment, there are legitimate reasons. For example, you know, like I said, I grew up prior to integration. So there was a law that said you can't drink that water fountain, you know, or something. If you did, well, then you'd be in trouble or something. So, but I think that even today, that sometimes that there are roadblocks that are put up, but you find a way, you know, that road might be blocked, but there's another road over here, and you go that way.
Right.
And I think that one of the other things that's important is, and this is pulling it back to the sorority, is you find a mentor. You find somebody who you not worship, I don't mean that, but you see who is being successful and you look at them. How do they operate? Talk to them. Ask them if they will mentor you, if they will help you and help you. You know, people talk about we don't need affirmative action or something. Affirmative action looks different for different people. If you have a person who is the president of this bank or something, ask that person to mentor you and to help you, to introduce you to the right person who can help you to achieve your goal. Indeed. You know, now my definition of affirmative action, that might be a different way to look at that or something. Because again, you know, my daddy wasn't the president of something. He didn't have much to will us. You know, so I was going to say something else. I lost it.
Would that be your definition of affirmative action? Is
part of it.
What would be the other? What would be the other part?
The other part would be that people who look like me have been disenfranchised for X number of years, and we're still playing catch up. You know, so we're still playing catch up. So. I
see. What were you going to say next? I think we're still tying it back to the sorority.
Yeah.
And you kind of touched on what you guys are doing.
Yeah.
But I remember when we first talked about doing this interview, you mentioned something that was going on December 8th, I think it was. What was that? Something that you guys had going on.
I can't remember. Well, we just had our installation of officers and a joint meeting with the undergraduate chapter. That's pretty much that. And I know that we have been working, trying to put together a National Panhellenic Council of graduate members of sororities and fraternities.
Right.
So we met. It's been a while, and you know you're part of the D9.
I am, and it's those meetings are impossible for me to make. I want to make them, but it's like I'm always 10 o'clock or something like that. I think they are.
I understand. So we're just kind of looking at some things that we can do collectively to leave a larger footprint here in Lubbock, whether it's you're an Alpha, Kappa, and Omega, and Delta, Sigma, or Sigma, Gamma, Rho, or whatever. Something.
Right.
So
Zetas.
the Zetas. That's right. There was something else that I was going to mention that we do that we're currently involved in, and I lost that thought just that quickly. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's all right. That's all right. Very curious. You kind of whet my appetite to know more about your dad. I'm always, I'm a historian, so I call myself a lay historian.
But
I love it.
There was a representative back in East Texas. His name was Ed Howard. Ed Howard. When my dad was trying to work on getting that water district for our community, somehow or another he found Ed Howard, and Ed Howard would come and pick my daddy up and take him to the meetings and stuff. And he was a representative. There would be meetings like in Austin. There'd be meetings in Dallas. And, like I said, my dad didn't have a car. But he would manage to go to those. There was a person that I met like in the last 12 years. His name is James Keaton from Texarkana. I didn't know he knew my daddy, but he said, "Oh, yeah, I know your daddy. I know your daddy." And so he would help take my daddy to meetings and stuff. And in fact, they were driving a van from Dallas one time. They had a wreck or something, and James said he was in the van behind my daddy's van. He saw that van flip over, and he got my daddy out or something.
Yeah.
But my daddy. He would always tell us that you're not better than anybody else. You're not better than anybody else. But there are some things that you don't do because you're Brandon. And we just don't do those things. And I can remember asking my daddy, well, can I go to somewhere?
Nope.
And he said, nope. But I would say, well, Daddy, everybody else is going. And you know what my daddy would say? I ain't got no children named everybody else. Your name is Margaret.
I like that.
Go. And at the time, I just thought that my daddy was just being mean. But now I understand, and I appreciate the fact that my daddy was selective about where we could go and what we could do.
Indeed.
And I think that helped to build character. And I've tried to pass it on to my own children.
Yeah, so. Indeed. One of the things that I've noticed as a dad, a father, is one of my biggest jobs, and I would say the biggest job of all dads, is to say no. And the funny thing is, my kids, I think they think I'm the fun one, because I don't say no very often, because most of the stuff that they ask about is inconsequential. So my thing is, did you do your homework? Yes, sir. Did you do your chores? Yes, sir. Doing good in school? Yes, sir. Treating your mom and me with due respect? Yes, sir. All right, go ahead. However, certain things, automatic no. Certain places, automatic no.
And they probably are selective about what to ask for because they already know the answer is going to be no, so they don't ask for that one. And so they've been taught that's not your place. You don't go there, so they don't ask about.
That's why. So what you're saying about your dad again, it resonates pretty strongly with me because that's these are things that you only learn with age, though. You know, like when I was a younger father, I didn't think about it as much. I never codified it in my mind or put it in these words. But sometimes now my kids are grown, and I look back in life, I was like, actually, that's what dads do. Dads say no.
Yeah. And I know
we don't do that. We don't look like that. We don't go there. We don't talk like that. We don't walk like that. We don't wear clothes like that. No.
Yeah, and and just pulling that back to the sorority, I think that any time that you join an organization, you have a responsibility to the organization because you said that this organization stands for this, this, and this, and so then you're saying that I see that, I understand that, I want to be a part of that, and so then once you become a part of that, well then that's what you're supposed to be. There are certain things that you don't do because you're in that organization, and it's kind of like. You can't say, okay, I'm taking off my AKA hat and put it over here. Now I'm not an AKA and I can whatever. You become that's you 24/7. And so you said that I'm going to represent this organization. And so there are certain things that you do and don't do and say and don't do. And it becomes a part of who you are. But another way of looking at that is that it's already in you. And you just recognize that, you know what? This is me. What this organization is about, this fits me.
Yeah.
So
it's funny thinking back to my undergraduate days as I'm a Sigma, and it's when I first got to college. I went to Wiley College, and
see, we had some charter members from Wiley.
Oh yeah. In fact, Wiley College. That's a picture of the Wiley College photography class taught by Mr. Curtis Humphreys back in the day. But anyway, I don't want to get to that. But when I first went there, I was considered myself to be all pro-black, and I was always on the verge of joining the Nation of Islam, and probably memorized all of Malcolm X's speeches, and that kind of young thing that a lot of young guys are into. And I remember and I was like, when I go to college, I ain't joining no fraternity. I'm an African. I don't wear Greek. But the funny thing is, as soon as the Sigma showed interest, I was like, yeah, we'll do that. But looking back on it, I think they the kind of organization that they were resonated with me. Because you know who's who on campus. You know how people act. You know how groups act. And when I saw them, I was like, all right, if for in other words, if any other fraternity had asked at that time, I'd be like, I don't feel like how y'all look and act. I don't feel like that's me. However, for some reason with the Sigmas, like I said, we resonated that. And I also noticed too, this is neither here nor there, but something I've noticed is that the blue and white have always followed me before that and after that. You know what I mean? And so I recognize, that's sometimes if some blue and white is somewhere, I feel like, well, that's a good sign.
That's destiny. That's destiny. Yeah.
Like, all right. But anyway, I guess it is fraternities, sororities. There, to your larger point, you're supposed to exercise. You're supposed to do like dads and say no. Right. Standards, in other words, it's called standards.
That's right. Yeah, and I think that sometimes that sororities and fraternities get a bad rap. That people think that they are just whatever or something, and I guess that's one of the reasons why I work so hard at trying to make sure that the community sees the community service. That the work ain't pretty. I mean, it's hard work out there picking them trash on that highway.
Yeah,
I mean, that's not pretty. But that's being of service to the community. Yeah. Now, do we have fun? Yeah, we have fun. But there's more to a fraternity and a sorority than just having fun and stepping and strolling. And I guess, going back to sometimes when we're in public and we're not at a Greek show or whatever or something, is that we need to ask ourselves the question, what is it that I want the population, the masses, to understand about me and my sorority and my fraternity? And so...
So, of course, you remind me of a thing that's in the news right now. There was and I don't even know what sorority this young lady belonged to. I never got a chance to investigate fully. But there was a young lady at Tech who didn't want to shake the president's hand walking across the stage to get the diploma. And I don't know how many people didn't shake his hands or if it was only her. Most of the people in the clip seemed to shake hands. And this is... I don't necessarily have a problem with the not shaking the hand. Sometimes if you don't agree with the policies or the whatever the actions of some board or individual, I can understand not shaking their hand because shaking hands symbolizes agreement. However, the one thing that I thought was weird about that as a Greek member myself, and as just something that seemed inappropriate and strange to me. They do a little stroll. Not every Greek person that went across the stage, but several of them did a little stroll, like a little step, as they were getting their diploma. And the first thing that when I saw that, I've been out of college for a while.
I've been out a long while.
Right, a little while. We both been out
just a little
minute or two, And so we didn't do that when I was in school, and I never heard of that until just today when I saw that video. And so I'm perplexed at that. I felt like that was inappropriate. I wonder how many hundreds of people have to graduate. Do you have time to do a stroll? That's what I would be thinking about. Yeah. Like, what are you strolling and stepping for? Get out of the way so I can get mine and we can get out of this thing and get it over with.
And I guess I would put that in the same category with, just like I'm graduating and I have 15 people there and they just keep yelling and keep yelling and keep yelling. Yeah. There's a person behind me who has 15 people. And or there's a person behind me who doesn't have anybody. Right. But or the people that they deserve to have their name heard
too.
But you're still yelling and something. So I put that in the category with that now, and I haven't seen the clip, so I have no idea who it is or what it is about, and about shaking hands or something. I don't know if the person didn't shake hands because they had just coughed in their hand.
No, she said it was because they met with the president over DEI initiatives. And she didn't feel satisfied with the meeting, and basically they were in disagreement about it. So I get that. I don't get the stepping and the strolling en route to.
Well, and and again, that's now strange. This is just my personal. I'm not saying this as
understood
in an official capacity. This is just my personal opinion. Is that I think that one of the things for me is that it's important to me that people see me representing my sorority in a positive way. And I'm not saying that that's not a positive way, but that I'm trying to figure out how I want to say what I'm saying is that there's a time and place for everything. You know,
that really summarizes my feelings on it. I didn't never considered that would be the time and place to do any kind of strolling or strutting.
Right. And to your point, if everybody's going to take, you'll still be out there now.
Right. They'd be out there right now, still waiting. They'd still be on L.
Yeah. So, and I'm sure that there are people who will disagree, but
of course.
But that was, just like I said, I didn't make that statement in an official capacity. That was just my personal opinion.
Right.
Is that, if I'm in line back there, I'm like, okay, it's time for my 1 second of fame. I want my name to be called and people can hear it and whatever or something. And I have no idea if the university has a policy. I don't know.
Right. Well, I don't know either. It's things I'm curious about. LBK, if y'all know what the policy at Tech is about that kind of thing is, drop it in the comments down here. If you agree or disagree or have a take on what we're talking about here, drop that comment down there too. It's all about part of our mission is to elevate the conversation in the community. So conversations go two ways. So we're happy to hear from you. Yeah. Mrs. Randle, do you have anything else that you kind of want to touch on there?
Yeah, I do. Our chapter has a website. It's aka Lubbock at gmail.com. It's not the website. That's the email address. That's the Gmail address. But anyway, and we have Facebook and different Instagram and different social media platforms to announce to our different community activities and stuff. So we would like for people to follow us and to kind of see what we're all about. Just like I said, we like to have fun, but we are about community service. That's the whole purpose of the sorority. And I know that there are some people that are watching that were initiated, because we have over 300,000 initiated members of the sorority worldwide. Yeah, so I know that there are some people out there. There are some sorority sisters who are watching who are not active, and we'd like for you to check us out and to decide to activate with our chapter.
How do they do that?
By going to the corporate website or contacting us here, through that Gmail account and say, I'm new to the city. I'd like to join the chapter. And we can work on how that's done.
And from what I understand, it's in the spirit of the announcement that you just made right there, or the statement. How many Sigmas do we have in Lubbock? I'm asking y'all. I don't know.
Yeah,
I feel like I'm
bet there's more than one.
I feel like I'm one of like 3 that I've heard of, or something like that. Like, raise your hand out there.
Yeah.
Hit us up in the comments if you are a Sigma or a Zeta.
If you know somebody that's a Sigma.
You know somebody that's a Sigma.
Yeah.
Well, Mrs. Randle, it was a pleasure speaking with you again.
Well, thank you.
Like I say, that's I realized when you sat down, I was like, this is the second. I think this is the first repeat guest that we've had.
That's good.
So that's cool.
I want to do a shout out for you.
Okay.
One of your teachers from high school speaks very highly of you, and that's Mrs. Carter. Gloria. I think everybody in Lubbock knows Gloria Carter.
Yeah.
So she speaks very highly of you. When I mentioned a while back, when we did the first interview, and she said, "Oh, he is smart." She just went on and on and on. So you really did a really good job of impressing her, and she speaks very highly of you. So and I think that's one of the greatest joys that a teacher has, is to be able to say, that was one of my students, and look what he's doing. So she was a really good person, and really I would have to credit her with the fact that I was able to go to school at Wiley College back in '92. She arranged the Black History Tour. I'm sorry, the Black College Tour. HBCU tour of Eastern Texas and Western Louisiana. So we left here in Lubbock. We went to Dallas first, and Paul Quinn. Well, I'm not sure I even knew there were HBCUs at the time. And so anyway, we went on this tour. Paul Quinn went down to Austin, Houston, Tillotson, and all that. We went up to Texas College, Jarvis. Did you go to Texas Southern?
I can't remember. This is getting to be about 30 years ago now. But we went to basically all the big names and all the places you would expect to go. And we stopped through Wiley and we had a briefing there and met everybody, met the staff and toured the campus, and we went back and talked to the academic coordinator or somebody like that. And he's raise your hand if you guys do test scores. And when I got home, I had a full scholarship in the mail.
Wow,
I was
good.
like,
That's good.
what?
That was going back to talking about education. Miss Carter understood the power, the value of an education. So she always made it her mission to find a way to get her students connected. She understood the value of knowing Black history. So she fought to have a Black history class there at LBK. So, education is powerful. And just the connections that you make with people, it's powerful.
It is.
So, yeah.
It is. Yeah. Well, Lubbock, I know y'all know the importance of getting an education. I know that many of us understand the importance of serving the community. If you would like to help out in the community, I think one of the boards and commissions that you mentioned is a good way to do it. But I would encourage everybody out there, man, get outside of yourself, get outside your comfort zone. Go out there and get in where you fit in. It doesn't matter really what you do. Do what you like to do something you have an interest in. But man, give back. Help out.
And check on your children at school.
Check on your children at school.
Get involved in your school.
Yeah. All right. Well, LBK, thank y'all for joining us for yet another episode. Very special guest, Miss Margaret Randle. Hope you found this conversation as edifying and as good as I did. And Mrs. Randle, I don't know, you mess around, we'll have you back again. You be the third time.
Well, I'll come back.
All right. Y'all take it easy. All right. Peace.
Bye.